When you're pressure washing your commercial buildings, you need to know what type of pressure washer to use. There are some questions you need to ask. How long has it been since the last time the exterior of your building was pressure washed? Do they have a large amount of organic growth? Are you needing to tidy up after messy builders, have left splashes of mortar, etc.? There are different types of pressure washers suitable for different tasks and different building materials. Cold water pressure washer. It's your most cost-effective machine for pressure washing commercial buildings. If you have a non-porous substance like UPVC, cladding, fascias and soffits, window frames, cold water pressure washing is ideal because you can maintain these areas yourself and regular pressure washing won't erode the surface. Things to be careful of: how high you have your pressure, how close you hold your wand, and be careful of your technique to ensure you don't scar or tiger stripe the surface. Cold water pressure washing is also good for fibre cement cladding, metal cladding on warehouses, etc. With these surfaces, you should also be aware of technique. Even on non-porous surfaces, it'll be difficult to get into every nook and cranny and get that full coverage, so you ought to think about some sort of a biocidal treatment spray as well. Also, if your metal cladding or other surface is painted, again, just be really careful of technique, because when you blast too high with a pressure washer, you can actually knock away the paintwork and make your building look shabby in no time at all. Your hot water pressure washer. This is an ideal choice for commercial buildings made of brick or stone. The reason for this is bricks and stone are porous, they absorb water. Absorption of water causes a lot of organic growth which lives inside the surface. Hot water will be better than cold water for killing these spores and stopping regrowth, which would occur if untreated. The problem is that pressurized water is erosive. Bricks and stone washed too often can damage the mortar and even the surface. Solution to this is if you use some sort of a biocidal treatment or soft washing, for example, to extend the period between treatments. Steam treatment's a better alternative to hot water pressure washing, or cold, because the pressure is very, very low and doesn't physically damage the surface being cleaned. It's steam hitting the surface rather than pressurized water. Steam cleaners, though, operate up to 150 degrees, so it's better to have a reputable and fully trained company to do the works for you rather than trying to do it yourself. Hanging tile cladding. Some commercial buildings have hanging tile cladding. Although some hanging tile cladding is Kent peg tiles or ceramic tiles, these are fine for pressure washing. A lot of hanging tile cladding is actually coated concrete tiles, and if you pressure wash that, you almost always erode off the surface of the tile, and it discolors and you end up just exposing the color of the concrete beneath. So you're better off with a lower pressure treatment. Pressure washing at height. Pressure washing shouldn't take place from a ladder. You should always pressure wash from ground level or from a suitable stable form of access, such as fixed scaffolding, scaffold tower, or a mechanical lift. You should ideally engage a company that has all the right training and certifications for working at height. Pressure washing render. Don't do it. Pressure washing can erode your render. It can scar it, it can blast little fragments from the render, it can even actually break render away from the surface of the building. At best, it's a short-term solution anyway, because render's porous. So when you've got organic matter on your render, what you see on the surface is not only on the surface, it's within the render, degrading it. Pressure washing will only blast those spores more deeply in, ripe for regrowth. Best practice for render would be steam cleaning or chemical soft washing. Again, you're going to need to engage a company with years of render experience. Now we're onto horizontal surfaces. When you're pressure washing your building's flat surfaces, don't use the wand attachment. You're better off with the flat surface cleaner. It has the rotating head within it. You get a wider coverage and you're going to erode the surface less, especially if you've got areas of mortar between tiles and so forth. Cleaning tarmac. Tarmac actually is best suited for cold water pressure washing with a flat surface attachment. That's because heat or steam can actually melt it and chemicals can discolor it. For longer results though, you still want to consider a light spray of some form of biocide. Resin bond. Resin bond courtyards and driveways, etc. Needs to be kept clean. From the time you've installed it, it needs to be kept clean. Resin bond is very susceptible to moss. Moss attacks the glue. You can end up with some very high priced gravel. You can maintain it by pressure washing on an ongoing basis with a flat surface attachment at low pressure, but now and again, once every 3 years or so minimum, you do need to properly sanitize it, properly soft wash it. You cannot use heat on resin bond driveways. Steam or heat can also melt the glue. Concrete areas. Both hot and cold pressure washing is actually good for cleaning your commercial building concrete areas, whether it's slab tiles or poured concrete parts. Pressure washing too regularly can erode the top surface, and over time more and more of the aggregate shows on the surface. If you're having to pressure wash your concrete areas too regularly, you might want to consider a longer term solution such as soft washing. Brick and stone flat surfaces can be maintained using a flat surface cleaner with pressure washer and kept fresh. However, brick and especially stone, like sandstone, limestone, Yorkstone, are very porous. And when you start getting areas of black lichen, what you're seeing on the surface is not only on the surface. It actually is within the stone, so it does need to be sanitized occasionally. If black lichen dwells too long on the surface, it can actually dye the stone itself, and then that color loss becomes irrevocable. So maintain it yourself by regular pressure washing, but once every 2 or 3 years, you should have a proper sanitizing treatment such as soft washing or steam. Tiles. Ceramic tiles are not porous. They can be pressure washed with a flat surface attachment. Keep the nozzle moving. Don't keep it in one place too long, otherwise the pressure can damage the tile. The ideal way of moving it would be an overlapping figure of 8 motion. Terracotta tiles can also be pressure washed regularly, but they are slightly porous, so the infestation will be inside, so now and again they should be steam or chemically treated for a deeper clean. Coated concrete tiles, don't pressure wash coated concrete tiles. It'll erode the surface, it'll take away the color off the surface, and you'll end up just with the color of the concrete beneath. Pressure washing wood cladding, sheds, fences, wooden structures. Wood is highly porous. Again, as with render, what you're seeing on the surface is not only on the surface. When infestation gets into wood, it has a contrary effect of sort of rotting it, but also drying it out and cracking it at the same time, really degrading the wood. Pressure washing wood, again, would only blast those spores more deeply in. They would regrow. So best practice would be soft wash chemically or steam cleaning. Really kill those spores within the surface. And then you should treat it with some sort of a penetrative agent that soaks into the wood and actually moisturizes the fibers of the wood. You might then still want to varnish it or oil it for long-term protection. Pressure washing gravel surfaces. You gotta be kidding. You can soft wash it though, not joking about that.